Arcady, I'm so glad to be chatting with you today. I'm here in California. You're in New York. What amazing technology. What an amazing time to be alive, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great to see you. It's great to be able to communicate and just to be able to chat. Like, yeah, it's amazing.
It's like we're next door to each other, and I just love this. So listen, you are an amazing attorney with a fascinating law firm. You're licensed in Texas. You went to law school in Texas, and now you're practicing in New York. Tell us a little bit about what type of law you practice in New York, if you don't mind, and maybe talk about the journey from going to law school in Texas to ending up on the East Coast in New York.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So I went to undergrad. I went to school in New York. I went to a small school in upstate, Vassar College, and then I met some buddies, and one of them was from Texas. So I decided to go down to Texas, and I got into the University of Texas at Austin, which is a pretty good law school. And I really enjoyed my time there. I really loved Austin. It was a really fun town, a lot of nature and beautiful springs and lakes, and the education was great. The law school, I did a lot of moot court and mock trial there.
Oh, you
And then when
did?
I
Okay.
graduated,
Yeah, and what is that for audience members that aren't familiar with
oh,
moot
sure.
court or mock
So it's
trial?
kind of like a trial competition, but they do it for law students. So they give you a topic and you have to conduct a trial. So I did both the mock trial, different topics of criminal law, some civil cases, some contract cases. And then I believe we also did one that was more appellate advocacy, where you go and you present an argument to judges and then they rate you. And we even went to a statewide competition where we went up against other law schools. And I think there was one big one in Dallas that we did in Texas. So
Amazing
then,
experience. Amazing experience as a lawyer, you guys, especially for a trial lawyer. That's such a great
yeah,
foundation. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's a
no,
big
no,
deal.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And just the overall time I had in Texas was very nice. It's a much slower pace from New York, but I kind of enjoyed that because I'm pretty laid back. So it kind of fit my personality.
You
And
think?
yeah, I really enjoyed it. And so when I graduated law school, I worked for a solo practitioner in Texas, in the Austin area. And he had some interesting cases. He had one case that went up to the United States Supreme Court, and he had some
Wow.
other interesting cases. But then after that, I kind of went back to New York and I got a job at a firm that was a mid-sized personal injury firm. And I started doing some personal injury cases, all different types. So I really enjoyed that too. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing personal injury, and then I learned how to do different types of personal injury. Like they had run-of-the-mill car accidents, and did slip and falls, some medical malpractice, all different types. So it kind of just put me in the middle of it, and I just really got a lot of good experience from that.
So, Arcady, fast forwarding to today, what type of law does your firm help consumers with in New York?
So yeah, right now we're practicing in personal injury. We're doing all types of different personal injury cases, such as car accidents, trucking accidents, construction accidents. We do, and we also specialize in different types of injuries. Like one of the injuries that we handle a lot is like different spinal cord injuries, like spinal fusions or percutaneous discectomy cases, which are a type of injection into the spine. We also do brain injury cases. So we try to focus on more serious and catastrophic injury cases. And that's kind of like the niche that we've developed. But our overall goal is just helping injury victims and their families. And so we really try to build up the case the right way and spend a lot of time with our clients. Like we actually have two trials. Right now I'm on a trial in Brooklyn, and then after that we have one scheduled in Queens. And I've already been to both of the clients' homes and spent a lot of time with them, like at the kitchen table, and just spending time with their family, with their friends, to try to get witnesses to be able to testify as to how they were before the incident and how they are now, how they've changed. So we really try to delve deep into the case and build it up the right way.
I love that what you just said. And for our viewers, so that they know, because I know you're in multiple trials right now, it's 7 or 8 p.m. East Coast time with us shooting this video. So
Oh,
you've
yeah.
been working all day, you've been meeting with clients in court. It's night now, and this is how I got Arcady's to agree to do a 30-minute interview with me, because it's after hours, and I really appreciate that. But you
Yeah.
said something that's been a key to my success in the courtroom over the years. And you talked about meeting your clients and going to their homes and getting to know them personally. Why is that so important to help get good settlements and to help win your cases at trial?
I think it's so important because it really lets you connect with the client. It really lets you understand like the human being that you're representing. And also it helps you learn things that you would never learn. Like for example, this case that is set for trial February 6th, it's an auto accident case in Queens. And we've litigated the case for like 3 or 4 years. It's finally set for trial. And I learned something so interesting that I never knew before by going to her house. I was sitting at her kitchen table with her and her son. And then she said, let's go upstairs. And I went upstairs and I saw that, you know, in her house in Queens, in the Richmond Hills section, she sleeps in one particular room because she needs an adjustable bed because she had a fracture in her lumbar and her lower back. And so because of that fracture, she has to sleep sitting up. Whereas her husband sleeps in a different room because he can't sleep in a sitting up. So he sleeps in a regular bed. And the way the house is configured, she was forced to sleep in a different room and in a different bed from her husband. So I figured that's something that I would never know. That's something I would never be able to convey to a jury unless I went to her house, unless I walked around and really met everyone and talked with them. So it's very helpful.
You know, it's funny how sometimes, it's not funny, but sometimes clients don't bring up these little things that are critically important for a jury or a judge to hear. It can make the difference between winning your case, getting a substantial verdict, or maybe even losing the case. It's so important to visit the accident scene or to visit a client and really experience a day in their life on some of the more serious cases that you mentioned you handle, like paralysis cases. Let's take a step back, big picture. Tell us what got you interested in becoming a lawyer. I'm curious to hear this story.
So I was just always interested. I was born in Russia. I was born in Moscow, and I came to the United States when I was 6. And so I went to elementary school and then, you know, junior high school. And in junior high school, I took this one class. I think it was a criminal law class. And I really liked the professor. I really liked the material. I started reading. And then I just really got into constitutional law. And in college, I was on the debate team, the American parliamentary debate team. And it was actually the same circuit where now Senator Ted Cruz was on there, and a lot of the other people that worked in the White House, a lot of other senators and famous attorneys were part of that. We were competing against Harvard and Columbia and Yale and all the Stanford, all the best schools. So so after that, after college, I was a history major. I really enjoyed that, and I just kind of figured that's what I wanted to do because I was really into debate and speaking, and I loved writing. So I went to law school after that and continued, like I mentioned, with the moot court and mock trials. I kind of at an early age, I just knew, but I think the overall reason, and kind of now it's coming full circle, is just, you know, helping people. I think you have to ask yourself, why do you want to do something? Like why do you, and I feel like through this preparation of each case and through the oral advocacy that I've learned, I could really present my client's case to the jury and to the judge and write strong briefs and get really good results. But in the end, it's about helping them, about helping the injury victims and their families and doing a good job for them. And then just, you know, feeling a sense of gratitude for truly helping them, because a lot of these cases are kind of sad. You know, people have gotten their lives turned upside down after a serious accident. So it's really fulfilling to be able to help them.
You mentioned a couple of times, you know, mock trial, moot court, and I'm a big advocate of, on a daily basis, trying to improve my communication skills. I've been doing this a long time, but it's never been a strong asset that I've been able to rely upon. It's something you learn. You're not born a great communicator, right? And maybe talk to the audience just a little bit about some of the different, why communication is so important when you're a lawyer, whether you're in a mediation, an arbitration, a hearing, or maybe a jury trial. Why is it so important to be an effective communicator, understanding that this may be the only shot your client has to find justice, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's true. That's like the only shot. So, you know, it's very important. I mean, it just starts out, I think, in jury selection when you're choosing which members to put onto the jury. And you could tell sometimes just from speaking to people, which people are going to be like supporting you and which people are going to be against you. And I was trying a little bit of a new technique where I get to speak to the jurors and really listen to what they're saying and really try to be in the moment, you know, and really try to understand them. And whether they support me or some of them are really against us, some of them are for tort reform, and some of them
Right.
have had bad experiences with personal injury or have bad opinions about personal injury. But I still have a sense of gratitude to them because, you know, they're being plucked out of their lives and put into this new world almost of a trial, and they don't want to be there. So I was trying to be grateful to them and understand them and communicate with them. And I feel like those interactions with them then allow other people to be more honest and tell the truth. And then you could really get a good jury. And then once you have a good jury, you know, it's just a matter of presenting a strong opening statement, and then also being honest and authentic when you're directing your own client, putting them on the stand. And so, yeah, I just feel like, you know, it's a little bit of course, you're always getting better. It's always a lot of practice. Like I think in 2019, last year, I did about 6 jury trials. And I could see already, even looking myself, you know, critiquing myself, I could see the first one was good. I think we won, but yeah, it was. And then the last one, I think like we did a lot better, and things were a lot smoother. So I'm just trying to be like a sponge and take in information and improve. So
And it's so smart that you're doing that. I mean, our first trial, Lisa and I, my partner Lisa, who you may or may not have met, but I know you've seen her online. We tried our first case together probably 5 or 6 months into opening up our law firm back in 1986, and we found ourselves in front of a jury all the way back in 1986. When I look at how we tried our case together back then as to how we would do it today, I cringe because you learn, and it's like being a surgeon. It's like being an artist. The more you do it, the better you get at reading people. And you said something about how you do jury selection. Voir dire is you listen to what the jury has to say. So many lawyers stand up and instruct and tell the jury what they can and can't do, and tell the jury what's going to happen next, instead of asking open-ended questions and listening to what the jury has to say. What do they need to see? What is it? What are their concerns? Right? Unless you ask the questions, you're not, and listen, you're never going to know.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. I even remember reading one of the books. I think there was a lawyer out west, maybe in Oregon, Bill Barton, and he said you could write down what's your worry list. Like last night before coming to jury selection, I was thinking, what should I be afraid of? And he asked the jury, in presenting this so-and-so case, whether it's a slip and fall or a car accident, tell them a little bit briefly about the facts, and then say, so what should I be worried about? And let them tell you, and then you write it down on a piece of paper for everyone to see. And I've been trying to do that. In New York, we have a weird jury selection because there's no judge involved. So it's just the lawyer for the plaintiff, the lawyer for the defendant, and the jurors, the panel. And so every time, if the other side has an objection, you have to go outside and just work it out amongst yourselves. Or if you can't, you have to go up and find the supervising judge, but that might take an hour. And meanwhile, the panel members are sitting there for an hour waiting. So it's a very convoluted system. So I always try to work things out with the other lawyer, but that's a great way to do the worry list, the fears list. What should I be concerned about? That's one of the first questions I ask. Yeah, that's really helpful.
And they don't feel like you're trying to hide the ball. They understand that you're just trying to be upfront and address the issues. But I did not know that. Okay, I've been practicing for 34 years. I did not know that in New York, because I'm here in California, there wasn't a judge presiding over jury selection. That just blows me away.
Yeah, no, there isn't a judge. I mean, for the most part, sometimes I guess in federal court there will be, or in some instances, if it gets so contentious, the judge will supervise. But for the most part, and they give you like a room with no windows and little tiny, almost like a closet. And it's sometimes you can get a courtroom to do it, but there's still no judge presiding. And yeah, that's how they do it almost everywhere in Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, yeah, throughout New York City.
So it requires you to be able to get along with opposing counsel, to have good rapport, to have mutual respect. That's something where just seeing you online and watching what you're doing, I feel that way towards you. You bring that to the table. And I think that's a really important professional asset to have, is to be that person in the room that can command respect, to be the leader in the courtroom, whether you're picking a jury or trying a case, and also on social media. Let's talk about that just a little bit, because you have, your firm has a beautiful website. I know you're working on your social media presence, your branding, you're trying to bring value to the consumer 24/7 on the major platforms. Talk to us a little bit about how you've been able to help consumers on social media, and what are your plans for 2020 as a lawyer in a law firm on the digital platforms?
Yeah, I really enjoyed being on social media. I'm doing different platforms, like we do some videos on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram, YouTube. YouTube has probably been the platform that I've done the most on. I probably shot
Okay.
about, I have two different channels, and I have about almost 200 videos. And like in 2019, one of the videos got a lot of views, I think almost 55,000 views and a lot of comments, maybe like 100 comments. And it was
Oh,
about the value of your case if you have a spinal injury, like after a car accident, and just the different types of treatment that people go through, starting with just regular chiropractic, then moving on to maybe some pain management injections, then finally surgery, and putting a range as to each tier of the treatment, a range of compensation. And people were really interested. I was getting so many contacts from people asking, oh, my lawyer's not calling me back, so can you let me know how much I'm going to get? And they were from Georgia and California and Texas and all over the country. So it was nice. I try to respond to everybody right away and just be a resource to answer their questions as best I can. But I always tell them to go back to their attorney for the detailed consultation. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. So in 2020, I think I'm going to try to come up with some more videos like that are really engaging, that people want to see. I'm going to try to figure out like what the consumer needs, and try to respond to that. And also maybe branch out to different platforms, because I really enjoy YouTube, but maybe try some of these other platforms like Instagram. I know now on Instagram you could do longer videos, and maybe some more Facebook. And I know that my kids are on this little TikTok that they do these little short videos. So maybe I'll try one or two for that. I don't know. I'm open, but definitely like after these trials are over, I'm probably going to have some downtime in the spring. So I'm going to really try to get into social media and get out there and maybe do some trial stories, tell stories of what happened in these cases that I'm on now.
that would be fascinating. I mean, I would love to hear more stories out of New York. I've already learned something that I didn't know about jury selection for a New York trial lawyer. Let me just share a thought with you. You're representing people who they're up at 3 a.m. because they're in pain, or they don't know how to respond to an insurance company settlement offer, or there's something going on 24/7, even when you're not in the office. And I think having these YouTube videos out there, it allows people to use their phone or jump on their laptop and get answers to their questions, at 3 or 4 a.m, and then follow up with you the next day with a phone call or an email. If anyone's interested in watching these YouTube videos, can they access them from your website, or what's the best way for them to find you on YouTube?
Yeah, I think they could probably access it from my website. There should be a
Oh,
link, or also just putting in my name into YouTube, or the firm name, Frekhtman Associates, or sometimes we have one channel, Frekhtman Associates, and one channel is F&A Injury Lawyers, because we opened up a storefront in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and we call that the
ah,
F&A Injury Lawyers. So we have that
I
F&A
like.
brand for YouTube as well.
I would like to encourage everyone, jump over to these YouTube platforms, you guys, and comment on Arkady's YouTube's videos. Share your questions with him. Share his YouTube channel out. I mean, as a lawyer who likes to help consumers, I agree with you. I think video is one of the best ways we can help consumers get their questions answered easily, quickly, in all hours, of the day, when it works for them, not necessarily us. Let's take another step back in kind of wrapping things up. If you don't mind, I would love for you to pull back the curtain just a little bit and maybe share a hobby, a passion, an interest, an activity, something about you, Arkady, that either your clients or the general consumer doesn't know about you.
Just something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, one of the things I enjoy doing in my spare time, I enjoy tennis. I enjoy playing tennis. So I
really.
go about like twice a week. I'll go to the club, and I'm in a league, so we play singles matches, and sometimes we play some doubles, and sometimes I play with my wife, mixed doubles, and my son does as well. He plays, so he's actually way better than me. He's only just turned 13, but he's pretty strong. So he gets me running around and get a little exercise. And And also, I just enjoy going to the gym in the morning and working out a little bit. It gives me a lot of energy for the day and keeps me energized, because I feel like when I don't go, I just wake up and I have, 2 cups of coffee. I go into the office. I'm a little groggy after lunch, but with working out really gives me that energy that I need to power through all, the courtroom, the office, or even like sometimes you have to write a motion or an appeal, and that's a lot of work as well. So
I- I'm,
it's
gl-
really
I'm glad I asked that question because I grew up on the tennis court. I did not realize you were a tennis player. And as a trial lawyer, there are 2 or 3 different types of lawyers that I get worried about taking on from the other side. And one of those classifications are other attorneys that are athletes, ex-high school or college athletes, or they continue to work out and play sports,
correct.
because they're usually focused. They usually understand what it takes to take that ball and bring it over the goal line. Or on the tennis court, they understand that, in that third set, if you're playing 2 out of 3 sets, it's a matter of closing the deal
Yeah.
and hitting your serve and volleying and making those shots to bring it home. Otherwise, it just doesn't matter, because winning matters when you're a lawyer.
Right,
It's
right. No,
not how
that's a
you play
great
the
point.
game, it's getting that verdict for your client. And I've always found that lawyers who are athletes or enjoy sports are usually lawyers that give me the most trouble in court. So if anyone would like to reach out to you or your firm, get more information, follow up with a legal question, what's the best way for them, Arcady, to reach out to you?
Oh, sure. So we have our website is the same as our phone number. So it's 866 ATTY Law, and it's both the website and the toll-free phone number 866 ATTY LAW. And then we also have a local number in New York that's easy to remember. It's 212-222-1111. That's our local number in the New York City area. But yeah, but usually through our website, there's a contact form and it has our email on there and everything. And yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be able to answer anyone's questions and just help anyone and just yeah, coordinate and work together. It'd be great.
Your website's a great place for everyone to start. It's very well organized. Your phone numbers, your links, your social media posts, content on what to do if you've been injured, if you're not sure what your rights are. It's all at Arcady's website, you guys. So go to it. I'll share the link in the show notes above or below this video. And if you have any questions, reach out to Arcady, and I'm sure he can answer them. This was fun. I really appreciate
Oh,
your
thank you.
time, and
Yeah, it was
thanks
great. It
for,
was
I know
great.
you're busy, but thanks for squeezing me into your schedule. It means the world to
Oh,
me.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed speaking. Great.
All right. Take care, and I'll see you soon online. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.